Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. From now through May 6th, if you use that promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to win a War of the Spark booster box. See the description below for details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. It is War of the Spark pre-release weekend. It's also Mythic Championship 2 weekend. A lot of factors out there causing card prices to move. We're going to check out the entire secondary market and see what's going on. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to begin with the top 5 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. So we're in between standard metas. A lot of the more expensive cards are going to soften up as people don't want to make a commitment to buy those cards until they know what deck they're going to be playing in the next season. Also, we are starting to creep closer to this fall's rotation. Some of those popular cards that are going to be leaving the format in the fall are getting a little softer. Number 5 is Rekindling Phoenix, down 83 cents to $11.45. Here's an example of a card that will be leaving this fall, but also you can find this card in the Lightning Aggro Challenger deck, which came out a couple weeks ago. Those additional copies are also making the value of the card go down, even though this has always been a very solid standard card. Number 4 is Carnage Tyrant, down 86 cents to $13.13. This card has become very affordable. Hasn't seen the same amount of play towards the end of the last season compared to what it has seen in the past, and also another card that will be rotating out in the fall. This has seen at least a little light modern play, though. Number 3, Vivian Reed, down 94 cents to $17.82. I do think Vivian is going to continue to be a player in standard going forward, probably until she does finally rotate out this fall. But ultimately, this card has always been a little bit high priced compared to the amount of play that it does see. And with new cards coming into the format, it might get watered down a little bit more. So it's very possible that she'll see a little less play, and this will continue to go down, I think, in the coming months. Number 2, Arclight Phoenix, down 95 cents to $18.99. Now, not only has this been a great standard card, but it's an amazing modern and legacy card too. If you've been watching the Mythic Championship this weekend, you know that this card has looked good at times on camera. So why is it going down this week? Well, much like Rekindling Phoenix, there is more copies of this entering the marketplace due to a copy appearing in the Arcane Tempo deck, which is another one of those new Challenger decks. So with the extra copies coming in and us being between seasons, this does soften up a little bit, but expect this to be temporary. I do think this will stabilize and start creeping back up again relatively soon. Number 1, Hydroid Crisis goes down $1.61 to $20.21. When this card first hit the scene, it was huge, felt like it was everywhere. As the season did go on, though, people did figure out how to deal with this card a little bit better using things like Entrancing Melody, so it did start to taper off a little bit, but it was still a big player up until the end of the season. I have no doubt this will continue to see a lot of standard play going forward. I do think this one could lose a little more value before stabilizing over the next few weeks. Okay, let's move to the top 5 standard legal cards that have gained value this week. Before we get to our top 5, though, I do have 2 honorable mentions. The first is Field of Ruin, up 31 cents to $3.31. This is a card that's gotten hot in the last 24 hours or so. I do think that this at least is partially tied into Mythic Championship 2, since the card has become a modern staple. If you haven't been paying attention to Modern, this thing is all over the place. It's in some big decks like Azorius Control, Golgari Midrange, and many more. So even though this hasn't done a whole lot in Standard, maybe it will do more in the future because we are getting some cards that do interact a little better with lands in this set. But at least for right now, Modern is enough to move this card. The second honorable mention is Hallowed Fountain. This is the one from Return to Ravnica, up 36 cents to $8.49. All the shock lands have been hot. There's going to be another one on the list in a few moments. They've all seen a ton of standard play, obviously, but also, for the most part, they all see a fair amount of modern play, too. Okay, number 5 is Chromatic Lantern. This is the one from Commander 2016, up 40 cents to $6.89. Now, the other copies of this are going up as well, just not to this degree, at least not yet. Already a great Commander card, but I do think Chromatic Lantern could play a role in the next meta. We have seen Chromatic Black do well in the past, and I do think the new set will bring more support considering all the multicolor cards that are in there. Number 4, Scape Shift from Magic 2019. This goes up 46 cents to $9.95. And this card is, again, more of a modern card right now than a standard card, but the Scape Shift decks in modern are good. The Titan Shift one is the most popular right now, but there's some other variants out there too. Since this card was released, I really felt it was a little undervalued considering its modern play. However, with some of the new cards coming in for more of the Spark, there could be a standard deck that wants to use this. Some of the cards to keep an eye on are Evolution Sage, Living Twister, Nissa Who Shakes the World, Nissa's Triumph, and Mobilized District is a great land that could play into some of these strategies. Also, a reminder, if you're looking for any War of the Spark singles, they are up on FlipsideGaming.com now with the Heroes promo code giving you 10% off. That supports the channel and also might help you find a good deal, so you might want to check that out if you're looking for some of these cards. Number 3 is another Shockland. It's Watery Grave. Gate Crash goes up 38 cents to $12.59. Guilds of Ravnica goes up 47 cents to $12.47. Number 2, Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, goes up 62 cents to $20.86. So this card hasn't been doing a lot in Standard recently, although it has seen a little bit of Modern play sometimes in Grixis Control. However, a lot of people are now paying attention to this card because Grixis does feel like it's getting a push from War of the Spark. Of course, one of these new cards is Nicol Bolas Dragon God, which is a very impressive card that I'm sure will see Standard play. I have seen people brewing Grixis Midrange, Grixis Control, even Chromatic Black using these cards. Number 1 is Crucible of Worlds from Magic 2019, up 65 cents to $16.70. Much like Scapeshift, this card sees play in Modern, also sees Legacy play. But again, with War of the Spark coming in, there's a little Standard potential for this card. Okay, let's move on to the top 5 Modern legal cards now that have lost value this week. You're going to see a lot of cards that have recently spiked that are just normalizing for the most part here. Number 5, Blightsteel Colossus goes down $2.51 to $73.99. This card has gotten extremely hot recently. First, due to the fact that the colorless commander decks have become more popular with a lot of attention coming from some recent podcasts and videos. But also beyond that, when we saw this card from War of the Spark, Ilharg the Razeboar, it definitely got people thinking about the combination of those two cards together. Number 4 is Horizon Canopy from Future Sight, down $2.89 to $77.20. This copy of the card is always very expensive. These are harder and harder to find in good condition from Future Sight. It's got the unique border, the unique art, and it's in a lot of big Modern decks. It is a little surprising to me to see this go down on Mythic Championship weekend, considering it is a Modern event. But it could stabilize next week because it's in so many big decks like Humans, Hardened Scales Affinity, Abzan Devoted Company, Bant Spirits, and other decks from that format as well as Legacy. Number 3, Avacyn Angel of Hope goes down $3.03 to $30.07. This is the one from Avacyn Restored. This card has been hot mostly because of Commander, but it does retract a little this week. Number 2, Jace the Mind Sculptor from Masters 25 goes down $3.70 to $125.99. All these Jace the Mind Sculptors were aggressively spiking recently, so it's not too unusual to see this kind of snapback, especially with the newest copy of the card. Still sees play all over the place. You're finding this a little bit now in Is It Phoenix decks, sometimes like a copy out of the board, but it's also found in Modern and Legacy Control decks, Miracles decks and Legacy, and many other places. Great Commander card too. Number 2, Michiko Kanda Truthseeker goes down $4.12 to $19.22. This card has always been a popular Commander card because it's great in Pillow Fort decks. Recently, people have been paying attention to the fact that this is an advisor for Persistent Petitioner builds in Commander, but ultimately, this is always a great Commander card regardless of whatever the hot deck is, and this has never been reprinted, at least not yet. Let's move on to the top 5 Modern legal cards that have gained value this week, and yes, we're back down to 5. Things are calming down a little bit in the marketplace finally after many weeks of doing top 10s here. I do have one honorable mention, though. And that's Extirpate from Planar Chaos. It goes up $3.89 to $19.14. This card has been pretty hot recently. It's a budget surgical extraction for some people. Also, though, it sees Modern play in its own right. Sometimes people throw this in their decks as almost like a 5th copy of Surgical Extraction out of the sideboard. Dimir Mill decks do that many times. This can also see some Legacy play in decks like Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Number 5 is Polluted Delta. This is the one from Onslaught, though, going up $4.31 to $55.39. We say it every week. Fetch lands are extremely hot. Doesn't even matter what set they come from anymore. Even the cons ones have been going up a little bit. This one sees the bigger spike this week. Number 4 is Dark Confidant from Ravnica, City of Guilds. It goes up $4.70 to $88.31. Bob has been extremely hot recently. Mythic Championship weekend has pushed this card a little bit. This is another one that has gotten hot over the last 24 hours or so. And we know all the play this card has been seeing. Golgari Midrange and Jund, for example, in Modern, among many other decks. Legacy, you'll find this in Grixis Delver, Golgari Depths, 4-color Loam, among many others there. This sees Vintage play. Card feels like it's all over the place right now. Keep an eye on the reprintings of this card. They will be moving up too. Number 3 is Balefire Liege. Eventide goes up $4.32 this week to $19. Plane Chase up $5.26 to $18.74. We talked about this one last week. This is one of the cards that was moving because of Feather the Redeemed. This card has sparked a lot more than a war. It also sparked a lot of card spiking last week. Number 2 is Hive Mind. This is going up $6.26 to $18. You can find this in Amulet Titan decks, a very popular card right now in Modern. Typically 2 copies in some combination between sideboard and main. Number 1 is Fury of the Horde. Dual deck, Speed versus Cunning goes up $4.18 to $5.77. Cold Snap goes up $7.75 to $10.50. Now this is because of a new Modern deck that's hitting the scene, the Narset Combo deck. This has showed up in a lot of different streams and articles. MTG Goldfish featured it over the past week. So some of the cards from that deck are increasing in value, but this one has the big spike this week. Alright, time for our Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that are moving because of play in Legacy or Vintage or 93-94, also cards that are important to collectors. Again, you're going to see a lot of unlimited cards on the list today. Those cards have just gotten super hot over the last 6 months or so. City of Traders is our first card, though. This is on the reserve list. It is a Legacy staple. Sees Vintage play as well. It goes up $5.25 to $214.99. Here's our first unlimited card of the day. Mana Flare goes up $10.01 to $60. You're going to see a lot of big percentage climbs from these unlimited cards today. And even though this card does see play in 93-94, which could be part of the reason for the climb, but ultimately, these unlimited cards generally have been hot. First off, sellers, especially online sellers, like these because they're easier to move. They're not as expensive as alpha or beta, but at the same time, they're still limited enough for collectors to care about them, and they're still legal in 93-94. Here's another one with Mana Short going up $10.25 to $27.95. Third one in a row, JM Tome goes up $13.16 to $83.12. This next card's from the revised and not unlimited is Tropical Island, going up $13.86 to $300. Of course, this is on the reserve list, one of the original dual lands. The revised dual lands have been getting hot recently. They were stagnant for a while, but they are definitely moving. Out of all 10, though, this is the big mover this week. Back to unlimited with Shivan Dragon, goes up $17.82 to $176.79. Good 93-94 card for sure, and classic art there. Blaze of Glory, this one is on the reserve list from Unlimited, going up $21.45 to $77.95. Nightmare from Unlimited goes up $31.18 to $74.17. Wrath of God from Unlimited up $37.97 to $98.75. Another great 93-94 card. That's what a lot of these cards today do have in common. Howling Mine from Unlimited up $48.21 to $159.57. Alright, on to some Power 9. Mox Ruby going up $3.18 to $2,897.50. This one is on the reserve list, obviously. The reason for the spike is just because there's some higher grade copies on the marketplace this week. Mox Jet going up $3.85 2 cents to $3,099.97. Also from Unlimited, also on the reserve list, of course. This one, though, it looks like maybe a little market manipulation. Somebody put a really high listing up for a copy of the card, and maybe they're just looking for an offer to be thrown their way. Maybe they're trying to jump the price a little bit, but for whatever reason, this is a little bit misleading. Here's a card you might have heard of, Black Lotus. This one is from Unlimited. Of course, it is on the reserve list. Let me check. Yeah, definitely on the reserve list. Up $1,312.50 to $7,875. Again, you just got some higher grade copies on the marketplace this week. Let's move on to our Commander Spotlight. This section is a little smaller this week. I do think generally the market has calmed down a little bit. We'll have to see if that trend continues over the coming weeks. But again, I'll only give you just the highlights here and not go into all the details because there are a lot of cards to cover. Staff of Domination back again, up $1.05 to $41.99. This card has been really hot. It's just a great Commander staple at this point generally. Sure, some people were picking this up for Prime Speaker Vannifar, but it really fits into so many important builds right now. A lot of crazy things you can do with this card. Sensei's Divining Top, up $1.12 to $31.49. This is the one from Eternal Masters. This heated up again along with those colorless Commander decks. This is a great Commander and Vintage card. It also did get a mention on the Command Zone podcast this week, which can bring more attention to a card. Expropriate, up $1.12 to $51.99. This card's been quiet recently, but it did get a mention again on the Command Zone podcast, although it feels like it gets a mention every week. This week it does start to move again. Darksteel Forge, this is the one from Magic 2014. It goes up $1.17 to $21.87. This got popular again recently because of those colorless commander decks. The other two copies spiked a little harder than this one. This one's kind of catching up. Wayfarer's Bauble, this is the one from Dual Decks Venser versus Koth, goes up $1.20 to $1.70. All copies of this card are going up this week, just not to this degree. This has seen a little modern play in the past, but this is a great commander staple. Seedborn Muse, speaking of great commander staples, up $1.22 to $12.41. Also another card that was mentioned again on the Command Zone podcast. This is the one from 9th edition. Wasteland from Eternal Masters goes up $1.24 to $45.30. Obviously, this is a great legacy vintage card, but it does see a fair amount of commander play too, so I just threw it on this list. Time Stretch from 10th edition goes up $1.25 to $17.56. Always a good commander card, but recently people are paying a little more attention because of God Eternal Kefnet coming into that format as well. Bloom Tender, another classic card, gets a lot of Command Zone podcast mentions, goes up $1.35 to $43.48. It is from Eventide. I'm going to use my one per video. This was the time period when sets were getting a little bit of a lower print run compared to other modern era Magic sets, so this does tend to get a little spiky. Lux Cannon, this has gotten popular recently due to all the new Proliferate cards coming out, goes up $1.36 to $9.49. Vampiric Tutor, 2 copies this week. Eternal Masters goes up $1.25 to $73.48. Visions goes up $1.39 to $65.98. Tutors have been just incredibly hot recently, mostly because of commander play, although this does see vintage play too. One With Nothing, up $1.44 to $7. This is just a weird one. This card got a little bit hot when the Rakdos Guild kit came out. I think people were thinking about upgrading those into commander builds. Generally, this doesn't see a ton of commander play other than in those Rakdos builds, but it is going up this week. Kozilek Butcher of Truth from Rise of the Eldrazi, up $1.45 to $33.66. Sees a little bit of legacy play still nowadays here or there, but of course recently this has been part of those colorless commander decks that have been popular. Exquisite Blood, up $1.46 to $21.99. This has been a popular commander card in recent months. Xantia Sleeper Agent kind of sparked it for a while, then Teysa Karlov decks, and now there's a new card that also will play well with it. That's Bolas's Citadel. Coalition Relic, 3 copies here. Future Sight up $1.28 to $11.20. Masters 25 up $1.53 to $8.99. Dual Decks, Phyrexia versus the Coalition, up $1.58 to $8.83. Now, the main reason this card is moving is because of Amulet Titan, of course, in Modern. Again, it is Mythic Championship weekend and all, and it is a Modern event. But this is a key commander card, and it's always important to keep an eye on these prices. Sylvan Library from Eternal Masters. Maybe this is moving more because of Legacy, but it's a great commander card, up $1.62 to $44.99. Sliver Hive. Sliver Lords have been hot recently. Now this card's moving up $1.93 to $9.99. Concordant Crossroads from Legends. Now, maybe this is just moving because it's an old Legends card. It goes up $201 to $118 this week, but it's a great commander card, and it has been popular because we've gotten a lot of good green cards added to the format over the last few months. Riku of Two Reflections from the original commander goes up $255 to $21.99. This card got a little bit hot when Prime Speaker Vannifar first came out, but just generally this is a great card in a lot of different builds. Cruel Tutor, another tutor here, up $3 to $42.99. This one has yet to see a reprint from Portal. Paradox Engine up $320 to $37.95. So there's a few things going on with this card. First off, yes, it did get a Command Zone podcast mention, but I don't know if you need them to tell you this is a great commander card because it is amazing in a lot of different builds. The colorless decks in Commander have made this card a little bit hotter recently, but this week it's moving because Breya Ethereum Shaper is getting hotter. More on that in a moment. Land Tax, 2 copies here. Battle Bond goes up $1.58 to $27.59. Battle Royale goes up $3.62 to $28.08. Great commander card, looked great on game nights a couple months back. However, part of the reason this is moving is Legacy. There's an Azorius Land Tax deck that did pretty well last month, had a nice finish. Mana Crypt, the card that won't stop climbing from Eternal Masters this week, goes up $5.17 to $2.43. Great commander card, great vintage card. Here's Breya Ethereum Shaper. You can only get this in foil. It goes up $8.97 to $24.45. always been a great Commander card ever since it came out, but a couple cards from the new set have got people thinking about it. Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge is one of them. Saheeli, Sublime Artificer is the other one. I would expect this card to show up more at your Commander table in the next few months. Enlightened Tutor, another tutor here. Mirage goes up 109 to $24.95. 6th edition up 266 to $23.63. Eternal Masters up $13.76 to $42. This fits into Teysa Karlov and Feather the Redeemed builds, which could explain some of the interest this week. Okay, let's move on to our Pauper Spotlight. First we have Ancestral Mask from Mercadian Masks, and it goes up 11 cents to $1.41. This is a key part of those hexproof decks. And of course, what else? Oubliette. This time it's the Arabian Nights A version, and you can see the difference from previous weeks. The casting cost is a little darker, a little harder to read. This one goes up $4 to $38.99 this week. Of course, you want to play this in some of those mono black control builds in Pauper. Now for our premium spotlight. If you watch these videos every week, you know I don't love to talk about foils because they can be very misleading. There's not always a lot of copies that can be found on the online marketplace at any given time, so some of the prices do tend to get a little bit swingy. But I usually like to show you one card and let you see what's trending out there. This week's card is Mana Crypt. This is the masterpiece, of course, from Kaladesh. It's in foil. Goes up $26.50 to $449.95. Maybe not too shocking. I mean, Mana Crypts have been super hot. This seems like legitimate growth to me, just because all copies of this card have been growing. That concludes the Market Watch for this week. Hope you are having a great time at your pre-release events this weekend. Until next time, though, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.